Depression. It's a real serious topic. I used to have it, but I defeated it. So today, as always, I'm coming to give you some words of encouragement. But first, I'm going to strictly go from what I looked at on Google. So this is not anything like an opinion or anything like that or what I feel like. And then after that, I'm going to go biblically, but we're just going to go straight from there. So I was on Google and there was a topic I was looking at about clinical depression. So somebody had put that on a post I had posted on. So there's a thing where you can go on there and see if you have clinical depression. And so I clicked on everything like up to the fullest, so that you can click on. So if you have any of these symptoms or anything like that, then you should listen to this video. And you can seek help as well. But depression, it says it's a serious mental health condition that requires understanding and medical care. And so there's like 9 questions that you can, answer, whether it's a little bit or a lot, or anything like that, kind of like on a scale of 1 to 5. And it says, do you have little interest or pleasure in doing things? Are you feeling down, depressed, or hopeless? Are you have trouble falling or staying asleep, or sleeping too much? Are you feeling tired or having little energy? Do you have a poor appetite or overeating? Feeling bad about yourself, or that you are a failure or have let yourself or your family down? Trouble concentrating on things such as reading a newspaper or watching TV? Trouble moving or speaking so slowly that other people could have noticed, or the opposite, being so fidgety or restless that will have been moving around a lot more than usual? Thoughts that you would be better off dead or hurting yourself. So I scored like the highest you can get, just like doing a mock, and this is what it says. So again, this is not an opinion. This is strictly what the help. So it says, what does this mean? It says you're not alone. Depression is a treatable condition affecting millions of people, which means that help is readily available. Contacting a doctor or reaching out to someone you trust, such as a family member, counselor, or friend, can help you start feeling better sooner. How to find relief. People with a score similar to yours often find relief through therapy and medication. Among other options, your doctor can put into place a treatment plan that's best for you. Individual health needs. What works best is often a combination of methods. Alcohol and drugs, on the other hand, can worsen your mood. And it also talks about the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's 24/7. If you're experiencing any of these and you want somebody to talk to immediately, you can call 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. Now I'm going to go biblically. But again, like I said, it's nothing wrong with seeking help, having somebody help you deal with it, because, you need somebody that can help you. So biblically, let's talk about it. Romans 12:2, it says, do not copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good, pleasing, and perfect. Now, we're talking about somebody qualified to help you, because as you know, like I said, again, that was an opinion of what it was talking about, somebody that can help you. But it says alcohol and drugs can worsen your mood. See, and some people, they're unqualified to give you advice, even though they may mean well. So what am I saying? So watch this. Somebody may say, oh man, listen, let's just drink, bro. Let's just do this. Let's just take these drugs or whatever like that. Not knowing that it can worsen your mood. Now, don't get me wrong. They mean well, but is it really what you need at that moment? And see, that's what we got to be careful. 2 Corinthians 10:5, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ. Or Another translation, we tear down arguments and every presumption set up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Now, again, I said I used to have this, and, I was with the mother of my children at the time, and, things just wasn't going right. And, I'm just like, I just didn't know what to do, feeling depressed. And so, I was, how we try to sit here and say, oh, we want somebody to complete us. That does not work. First of all, soulmate is not in the Bible, but I'm going to deal with that another topic. It talks about helpmate. But and again, I'm not saying anything, bad about her. But one time I was, and obviously we was living together, trying to be a family for the children and everything like that. And I remember one time, I was snapping at the kids, and for every little thing, kids, and they drop chicken nuggets and stuff like that. And I'm snapping, and God was like, was talking to me, and I was like, God, why am I snapping at the kids? And so, God was like, he was talking about how, that at that time, the mother of my children, she wasn't my wife. And God was like, that's not your wife. And so, the mother of my children, she struggled with, like kind of like snapping and stuff like that, and so I'm like, I started to see what God was saying. And so, I'm like, wow, God. And again, like I said, I'm not saying anything bad about her, because I got mad respect for her. This woman gave me five children, and there ain't too many women that would do that, because at the time I wanted 10 children. But, what I'm saying, like, I always got love for her. Like, I'm not in love with her, but I always got respect and love for her. So I never talked down to her or anything like that. And, at that time of growing up, not understanding, there was a time when I was being a boy, I wasn't handling things like a man is supposed to handle things. And it's hard sometimes when you don't really have somebody teaching you, like what, how a man is supposed to be, thank God I had some uncles and some, some cousins that kind of helped me out and things like that. And just being able to talk to God. But, sometimes in relationships, you can sit there and think that, oh, like, is this where I'm supposed to be and stuff like that, and not understanding that. But there was a time, when she would bring over, when we weren't together, and she would, I would have somebody come get the kids, or, and they would get the baby bag, and it didn't have, like, it wasn't full with diapers, or the milk wasn't there, or whatever like that. And she was at work, or whatever the case may be. And I would snap, man. I would snap, like, what is you doing? Like, you stupid. Again, the Bible talks about when I became a man, I put away childish things. And see, I was acting childish. You see what I'm saying? See, I had to grow up, didn't know it. But you know what I'm saying? And I heard my mom say, why don't you just, just have the stuff already ready for yourself? See, when we try to put our happiness in somebody else, thinking like, I'm getting upset. I tell my kids all the time, they be like, oh, Dad, he's annoying me. And I say, how are you supposed to say it? And they say, what they're doing, I'm allowing it to annoy me. See, watch this. And I'm not saying that she was doing it on purpose about the baby bag. You know what I'm saying? She could have been rushing, going to work and everything like that. So giving people the benefit of the doubt. But understanding that, I bought diapers, and I bought milk, because at the time, just be realistic, I was buying food stamps, and so I was, was hustling and selling movies, and everybody know that story. But I bought food stamps and stuff like that. So I would go buy a couple cans of milk, always buy diapers in bulk. And so whether when I got the baby bag, whether it was full or not, listen, I was the one that was in control of my happiness. A lot of people don't understand that. You see what I'm saying? Like, I put my happiness in somebody else. Oh, man, if she was sent that, I've been upset. No, things you got to change. And like I said, just being able to, pray and stuff like that, and understanding that you can do a lot. But let's get back to the word. Philippians 4:7. It says, the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Verse 8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think on these things. So you can think on these things. And so what I want you to do is, I'm going to give you a homework assignment. So again, you have the power of choice to reject the way that God sends help. You can either do this homework assignment or you cannot, because I don't want to read all of it, but I'm just going to read some key scriptures. And it talks about Joseph being sold. But, so it's Genesis chapter 37, verses 12 through 36. So, but I'm going to go down to verse 28. But if you read the whole story, it'll help you. You can go in depth there. Then the Midianite traders passed by, and they threw Joseph and lifted him out of the pit. So they lifted him out of the pit. So to give you a background in the story, Joseph was sold by his brothers. And so, he was like the kind of the favorite, and he had a nice coat and everything like that. So they wanted to kill him, but the brother wanted to save him and everything. So let's get back to that. And the Midianite traders, because he was already in the pit, they drew Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. They took Joseph to Egypt. Now, mind you, they sold him. So I looked it up. That was about $5.76. So imagine your brothers, your family selling you. You know what I'm saying? We know sometimes how family can be. It's not everybody, but we know how some family members. But don't let that fool you that every family member is like that. I hear people say, "Oh, family ain't nothing." That's only certain individuals, but you should be praying for them. Verse 29, when Reuben returned to the pit and saw that Joseph was not in the pit, he tore his clothes. Now, the brother Reuben was the one trying to save him. He was like, no, don't kill him, don't kill him. And so he listened, but then Reuben tried to go back and get help. And then Reuben came back and Reuben just tore his clothes like, he was upset. Verse 30, and returned to his brothers and said, the boy is gone. Where shall I go? Verse 31, then they took Joseph's robe and they slaughtered it. And they slaughtered a goat and dipped the robe in the blood. Verse 32, and they sent the robe of many colors and brought it to their father and said, this is what we have found. Please identify whether it is your son's robe or not. Verse 33, and he identified it and said, it is my son's robe. Now, mind you, let me give you a background on the story. See, what they did was, that's why I say all the time, facts don't always equate to the truth. You know what I'm saying? So fact one, it was his son's coat. Fact two, it was torn. But see, he didn't know the truth. See, the truth was his son tore it. And the truth was they slaughtered a goat. And the truth was it wasn't even his own blood. And so let's get back to it. So it says that, and a fierce animal, this is what the father said, because they brought it to the father and they just let him think what he wanted to think. They didn't give him all the facts. They just gave him a few of them, so they didn't give him the whole truth. And so he said, a fierce animal has devoured it. Joseph is without doubt torn to pieces. This is why God said, lean not to your own understanding. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. So he leaned to his understanding. Verse 34. Then Jacob, this is the father, had tore his garments. He tore his own garments and put a sackcloth on his loins and mourned for his son for many days. So in a sense, he had depression. Verse 35, all of his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. Now, mind you, these are the same ones that knew the truth about his brother. About his son. They knew the truth, but they still try to comfort him. Ain't that funny? Man. But, he said, no, I shall go down to Sheol to my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. Verse 36, meanwhile, somebody say meanwhile. Oh yeah, we about to go to church. Watch this. Meanwhile, the Midianites had sold him into Egypt to Potiphar, and an officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard. Now see, this is where depression set in, because he thought his son was dead. But see, had he would have known, that's why I said meanwhile, had he would have known that his son was alive, he wouldn't have had that depression. And see, I was there before, because I remember sitting at the house one day and I'm just like, man, God, and I'm sitting over there and I was emotionally eating, trying to make my family work and stuff like that. And I was sitting there and I'm just like, man, like I just didn't want to do nothing, man. I'm just sitting there like, man, like get through this day. And so I heard God say, get up. And at the time, like my back was hurting, my feet was hurting, and I'm like in my 20s, like 20, maybe 27 or 26, somewhere around there. But I was too young to be having that pain. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, and I heard God say, get up and go work out, So I went to the Buell Club, and God said, put on church music. So I put on like some upbeat gospel music, and I went to working out and stuff like that. And then my back pain went away. My feet pain went away, and then those thoughts and those negative thoughts and depression just lifted. Now, don't get me wrong. I still have thoughts, you know what I'm saying? But I don't allow them to take over or run me or just get me in a depressed mood. And so I was there, you know, and sometimes God allows us to go through things to help others get through. I say all the time, is it about you or is it about your purpose? Because if it was about you, when Harriet Tubman got free, she would have stayed free. You know, but if it was about her purpose, she would have went back. And see, I know it's about my purpose because she went back and she freed over 300 slaves. And watch this. So why not I go back? I got free from depression. So why not come back and help somebody? Again, like I said, seek help. But if you're still watching this video, take what you need. And if you got to watch it more than once, then watch it more than once till it gets down in your soul. I'm telling you, John 16:33, these things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation or trials and sorrow. But be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. See, there's things that's going to happen in life that hit us that kind of catches us off guard, but nothing catches God by surprise. God is always with us, but there will be times that you will feel like God is not with you. God, what did I do? God, why am I going through this? Why are they treating me like this? Why are these certain folk? You could be doing the right thing and still end up getting done wrong. And there will be times in life where it feel like you ain't blessed. And right now, if you're dealing with depression, it feel like God, if you real, show me something. And see, God likes to use people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just one of his servants. That's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to help. You know, I tell you all the time, take what you need. See, I'm not on here I'm not on here for friendships. Trust and believe that. I'm not on there for friendships. I'm on here about souls. I care more about souls than friendships, because even if you don't like what I say, but it's the truth. See, I can speak to one of my enemies. I can speak to one of my temporary enemies, and I can give him a word, and I can just pray for him and stuff like that and keep it moving. That don't mean we got to have tea and crumpets every Sunday. Watch this. But John 14:27, peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives you. Do not let your hearts be troubled. And do not be afraid. See, God is saying, don't let your heart be troubled. But sometimes life hits us so hard that we just try to figure out on our own. And that's what we do. Like when people tell you, who told you that? Watch this. Fake it till you make it. Why would you fake it? A lot of people fake it and then it's too much. It just comes, it's too much. Why would you fake it till you make it? If you need help, then get help. It's nothing wrong with that. People going to talk about you regardless. Who cares? People listen, they going to have something to say. You ain't got to be worried about that. You know what I'm saying? Get help. If you need to talk to somebody, a counselor, or you need to go somewhere, go to a rehab or something like that, go get help. Don't sit there and be like, oh man, what they going to say about me, bruh? Or what they going to say about me? Man, look, do what you got to do. If you need help, go get help. You know what I'm saying? And again, even if you want to talk to me, you know what I'm saying? Listen, inbox me. You know what I'm saying? I'll help you. I'll send you some books, something so that can help you as well. And listen, I'll help you. And I'm not going to be on Facebook like, oh, Ralph called me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to listen, nah. I ain't gonna do that, because you know what I'm saying, because it's about souls, you know what I'm saying. But if somebody come to me, like it's about helping them. That's why I love helping people. There's so many people that come to me, people don't even understand. You know what I'm saying? They come to me in my inbox and stuff like that. I pray for them and stuff like that and help them. They said, thank you. I didn't look at like there are people that come to me sometimes on a regular when they don't understand something, like, look, man, what do you think about this? I don't understand this, or I just help somebody or whatever like this. I'm just trying to help people, man. That's what it's about, man. We got to get these selfish ways where we think it's just about us, man, and let folk talk. You know, people going to talk regardless for the rest of your life. You could do everything right, man. Somebody going to say something. Let's take it back. Jesus was perfect. And listen, they said crucify him. He healed the sick. They said crucify him. He made the people that couldn't walk. They said crucify him. You know what I'm saying? People blind. He made them see. They said crucify him. Like, come on now. So if they talking about him, they're going to talk about you. But let's get to it. Romans 8:37. Now, know in all these things that we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. So understand this. It says more than conquerors. So if you look up conquer in the dictionary, it says one who conquers, one who wins in a country, or a country in war, subdues or subjugates a people or overcomes an adversary. A person who gains something by force. Gotta think about that. Someone who is victorious by force of arms. See, we're talking about force, but let's get to it. 2 Corinthians 10:6. And we will be ready to punish every act of disobedience as soon as your obedience is complete. Conqueror, one who conquers, one who gains a victory, one who subdues and brings into subjection or possession by force or by influence. To gain mastery, then pay attention to this one, to gain mastery over or win by overcoming obstacles or opposition, to overcome by mental or moral power. So yeah, and it says, you are more than that. See, you got to get that. And so see, when I was with the mother of my children, and we decided not to be together anymore. And she was saying, I'm a good woman. And I was like, you are. She's like, what you trying to say? Like, what I'm saying? I said, listen, all I'm saying is sometimes two good people just don't fit together. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't saying nothing bad about her. And, like I said, when I was a boy, I was doing childish things, you know what I'm saying? And I had to grow up. And see, sometimes people never grow up. And see, growing up is optional. Growing old is mandatory. That's why you can still see somebody acting like a boy. You know what I'm saying? They are a boy in the grown man's body. You know what I'm saying? Was doing grown people things. We had our kids, you know what I'm saying? But I don't talk bad about her. And I still see some people that they sit there and talk bad about the mother of their children. And, I'm not doing that, or vice versa. The woman is talking about the father of their children. And, you know what I'm saying? It's time to grow up. You know what I'm saying? But, I wasn't saying nothing bad about her, and I still don't say nothing bad about her. You know what I'm saying? And so, because I want to see her happy, because that's what it is. Because like God told me, if you don't pray for her, your children won't get a better version of you, and they won't get a better version of her. Because see, I knew her better than a lot of people know her. You know what I'm saying? So I could sit there and pray for her. And then I had to pray, and I was the first one, to apologize for the words that were said when I was mad and stuff like that. And certain friends that was just, trying to sabotage some things, or, having me go places. I remember one time, it was a friend who was in a relation, I was with my mother and my children, and they were like, yo, let's go hang out, man. So I'm thinking we're going to go chill, man. And it's two girls, you know what I'm saying? So one for him and one for me. And I'm like, bruh, like, what is you doing, bruh? Like, he's like, man, I just needed somebody to come with me, man. And we was cool, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, nah, bro. Like, look, I'm gonna be faithful, man. Nah, bro. I'm not about to do that, man. I'm gonna be faithful. And like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to say that he intentionally tried to, sabotage the relationship. I give people the benefit of the doubt, but maybe he thought like, oh, this is just what we do. And I'm like, bro, no, not me. Not me. Like, I'm not going to do that. Watch this. Why get in a relationship and cheat on somebody? Like, listen, that's a childish thing. Like, that's a boy in a grown man's body. Watch this. If you want to do your thing, then just stay single. But if you're going to get in a relationship, be faithful. Be faithful. Let's get back to the word. Proverbs 25:11. The right word at the right time is like a custom-made piece of jewelry. Verse 12. A warning given by an experienced person to someone who is willing to listen is more valuable than gold rings or jewelry made of the finest gold. 2 Corinthians 1:4. You saying, why are you going back? Why is it your purpose? Watch this. He comforts us in all our troubles so that we can comfort others. When they are troubled, we will be able to give them the same comfort God has given us. Why would I not want to give somebody what God has given me? I overcame depression, and you can too. If you are still watching, this is not by surprise, because you could have just watched the beginning of it. You could have got that. You could have called that number, and that's it. Seek the help. But if you still on here, you on here because God is speaking to you, and you can come back and watch it again. John 10:27, my sheep hear my voice. I know them and they follow me. See, and some of y'all might be crying. Let's first of all, let's tackle that. Because there was a time in my life, and I was, my children left and they went with their mother, and she moved to another state, and I drove them up there, and I thought I failed my children, man. I thought I failed my community. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I felt as a black father. People used to look up to me and stuff like that. And I lasted 17 days. I said, God, if you take this pain or guilt away from me and this shame, I'll do whatever you want me to do. And that's what, and I was still struggling with that. You know what I'm saying? I was still struggling with that shame and guilt, and God took that away from me, But Isaiah 61:1, the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good tidings to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to those who are bound. See, I'm just trying to help those that are bound. That's all. And so Isaiah 10:27. See, we're gonna get there. This is the NIV version. And in that day, the burden will be lifted from your shoulders, their yoke from your neck, and the yoke will be broken. because you have grown so fat. Now, the term broke or break is separate or cause to separate into pieces as a result of a blow, shock, or strain. Or the New King James Version. It shall come to pass in that day that the burden will be taken away from your shoulder and his yoke from your neck, and the yoke will be destroyed because of the anointing oil. See, there's a difference. Watch this. Destroyed. Put an end to existence of something by damaging or attacking it. See, you can attack depression. And see, think about it. Do you want depression to be broken? Because we know when something breaks, it can be put back together. Or do you want something to be destroyed? Because see, some of y'all, depression had left y'all and it came back. You know, you was good on Saturday and you was good on Sunday. You went to church and you came back and Monday hit you and Tuesday hit you and, Wednesday, you went out and you hung out with some people and you were better and it came back. See, I want it to be destroyed. See, 2 Timothy 2:15, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. See, it's not just facts. It's rightly dividing the word of truth. See, because that's what I love about it. See, the Bible talks about, who told you this? Who said you need to read your Bible? God never said that. He said you need to study it because, see, if I was just reading the NIV version, it would just tell me that it would be broken. But if I studied and I did other translations, it would say that it can be broken. So would I rather have something broken or destroyed? See, like John 8:32, it says in the NIV version, the truth shall set you free. You can set something somewhere and it can be set back. Slaves set themselves free and they got recaptured. Or the King James Version said that the truth shall make you free. Wouldn't you want the truth to make you free? Okay, the depression, you can't come back. I might have some negative thoughts. I might want to do some things, but listen, I'm not, nah. You can take those captive. And so this is why you have to cross-reference. I'm not going to break it down, but there are some things why the NIV were made easier. And that's another video or anything like that, but you need to cross-reference. And if you are just reading the NIV, you are sadly mistaken. You need to read the King James Version, the New King James Version, and other translations, because there are certain scriptures that were taken out, and they were made easier, like I said, but you can be, again, would you rather be set free or made free? It's a difference, because when you make something, it can be fashioned like that. So, but like I said, that's another video for another time. But that's why God said to study. Even though the NIV version was created to be an easier version. See, when I did research on it, I found out what happened. See, but that's another video. But again, when people just tell you to read your Bible, who told you that? You better make sure you're reading the correct one. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are some scriptures that I do like that the NIV says, but you need to cross-reference and find out why. Now, we're talking about Joseph. So Joseph was sold. So let's go back to that. Again, another homework assignment. Read Genesis chapter 39. So now, I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm just going to read some key scriptures. So verse 6, now Joseph was handsome in form and appearance. So that means that he looked good. You know what I'm saying? So women was like, oh man, Joseph fine, boys. So we gonna get to 2019 version. You know what I'm saying? Verse 7, and it came to pass after these things that his master's wife caught longing eyes on Joseph, and she said, lie with me. She was like, Joseph, you handsome, right? Look, why don't you come and give me them goodies? Like, why don't you just come and just lie with me? Like, why don't you lay down and, listen, come on, listen, I need you to work me out. Look. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to do the PG-13 version, but let's just keep it real. She was like, Joseph, why don't you give me that? Verse 8, but he refused and said to his master's wife, look, my master does not know what is with me in the house, and he has committed all that he had to my hand. Verse 9, there is no one greater in the house than I, and nor has he kept back anything from me but you, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? See, Joseph was like, listen, I'm not trying to sin against God, number one. And two, Your husband has given me authority over everybody. Joseph was a slave. Remember, he was sold for $5.76. But Joseph was a slave. So Joseph was a slave. And he had favor. So he was like, why would I mess that up? See, you can be doing the right thing and watch what happens. So verse 10, so it was as she spoke to Joseph day by day. Joseph, when you gonna give me that? Joseph, why you acting like that? I just need a little bit. Joseph, I just need a little bit. I don't even need that long. It could be 2 minutes, Joseph. Please, Joseph, why don't you give it to me? Why don't you lay down with me, Joseph? Why are you being stingy with it, Joseph? It said that he did not heed her, to lie with her or to be with her. Now let's bring it back. Verse 3, it says, and his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. Verse 4, so Joseph found favor in the sight and served him. We talk about his master. Then he made him overseer over the house and all that he had put under the authority. Verse 11, let's go back. But it happened about this time when Joseph went into the house to do his work, right? And none of the men of the house was inside. You know, she probably was like, yo, y'all leave, y'all get out the house. So, they had to listen to Potiphar's wife because she was pretty much like second in charge. Verse 12, then she caught him by the garment. So she grabbed him and saying, lie with me. Now she probably put her breast on him like, Joseph, don't you want to touch these breasts? Like, don't you, like, you can't sleep with nobody else. Like, listen, nobody gonna know, Joseph. Please, just, why you acting like that, Joseph? Listen, am I not his wife? You supposed to listen to me. If I tell you to do something, you supposed to listen to me. So I'm telling you right now, you better give me this right now. You ain't going nowhere. You gonna give it to me, Joseph. You gonna give it to me, or I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. And I'm telling you, it's gonna be good. Right? So, but it happened at this time. Verse 12, right? So it says that she caught him by the garment saying, lie with me. But he left his garment and his hand and fled and ran. Now, he probably ran outside because she probably touched him in that place. So Joseph was like, let me get out of here, man. Dog, because this ain't about to go down, man. No, you tripping. Like, whatever her name is, like, yo, like, you tripping, girl. You tripping. So Joseph ran. Verse 13, and so it was when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and fled outside, verse 14, that she called to the men of her house and spoke to them, saying, see, he has brought into us a Hebrew to mock us. See, she was mad because Joseph wouldn't give her the goodies that she wanted. Now he came into me to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. Verse 15, and it happened when he heard that I lifted my voice and cried out and left his garment with me and fled and went outside. Now, y'all know darn well she was mad because Joseph wouldn't give her that. And it said that Joseph was handsome. So she was like, how you going to turn me down, Joseph? Like, you a slave. But you wanted to sleep with that slave because that slave looked good. But then she was mad because she like, oh, Joseph playing hard to get. But there are some men that ain't gonna give it to you like that. See, there are some faithful. So she got mad, right? Let's go verse 16. So she kept